Welcome to the Time2Fly Podcast. It's time to give your business wings and take flight to achieve more impact, influence, and income with unique perspectives, tools, and tips from successful entrepreneurs and business professionals to help your business fly. Here to educate, encourage, and entertain you with their own unique perspectives and experience, plus sharing anecdotes of growing up as cowgirls. Here's your host, Nikole Haumont.
Welcome to this episode of Time2Fly Podcast. Give your business wings. I am your host, Nikole Haumont, wanting to visit with you today about how you can go about creating your own business referral group. When I moved to the state of Iowa in order to relocate for my soon-to-be husband's job, I was starting my network over. You can listen to episode 31 to hear a little bit more about that initial journey. Today, though, I want to visit with you about creating your own business referral group. Now, this comes from my experience of being an assistant director for Business Networking International, which a lot of people know as BNI, for several years, and from creating two separate business referral groups. So I have been networking in referral groups for almost 10 years. And with starting two of them, I have a few tips here that can definitely help you build a business referral group fast, and it will build your business faster. First of all, research all the existing groups within your area. It could be anywhere from 5 miles, 10 miles, 25 miles, just depending on how remote your location is. And go and attend the meetings. See how they are ran, especially if you've never been to one before. If you attend different types of meetings, you'll be able to see how they're ran, what you like, what you don't like. But research existing groups. Simply go on to your favorite search engine and type in referral networking groups near me, and it should bring it up with a list for you. When I moved to the Green Valley Sahuarita area, I knew that there was only one other networking group here. Then the second thing you need to do is make sure you have at least two different people, which one is going to be you, and it depends on whether you're the implementator, get it done person, or you're the well-connected person. You're going to need one to get it done and one who's well-connected. I am the implementator. So I was approached by a person who was a lot more well-connected within the community, and we decided to start our own referral networking group. And that was one of those things that we met, we hit it off, we decided to do it, and we got it done. With the person who is well-connected, you are going to need them to commit to helping to invite people. Just because you're new to a community or you don't like being out there as much doesn't mean you're not inviting people either. It just means that you're going to leverage their network even more. Then after you have made a list of people that you want to invite, form an exploratory meeting. So that means you're going to have 1, 2, possibly 3 beginning meetings where you're going to invite potential members and have them become founding members if you feel that they are a good fit. During these exploratory meetings, you're going to explain why you are starting this referral networking group, what type of members you're looking for, and you're going to hash out meeting times, dates, and locations. You don't want everything to be by committee. So 2 people making decisions is A-okay, because if you do it by committee, first of all, you're never going to satisfy everybody. And second of all, it's going to waste a lot of time. So come up with a name. Look at what's going on in your area. Think about different things that are associated with your area if you want to, or you could completely go with an independent name that is not there. We chose on our second referral networking group that I helped found to call it Advantage Alliance. The .org extension was available. Now, this is something that if we decide we want to franchise in the future, we're going to have to change that name. But for now, it works in our local area. The other networking group within our area is Valley Business Networkers. And being part of Green Valley, that name gives them a regional flair. But my co-founder and I were thinking outside of our area and wanted to make sure we had a name that would work elsewhere if we decided to. But we still need to do the trademark research and all of that before ever taking it any farther than where we're at now. Once you have done that, create a Facebook page or a LinkedIn page or a group. We decided to choose Facebook because my co-founder is more familiar with Facebook than with LinkedIn. So we have a members-only Facebook group where all of the members of our networking group are in, and we can keep up with who the speaker will be next week, potential members we have invited, and other things pertinent to running the group. We also have a Facebook page, which we have gone through and invited all of the local business owners and professionals that we know to like it. And on that page, we only post once per week, but we post when the next meeting is going to be or who the speaker is. And then that also gives us the opportunity to boost posts if we need to. And we can also create events on there so we can invite people to it. Once you've done this stuff, you're also going to want a website, because when people are out there searching for business networking groups, you want to be able to be found. So you can create a simple website. If you don't know how to do that, you can always contact me, of course, here at shieldbar.com. But you just need a website that you are going to be able to update on a consistent basis with all of your members on there. One tip there is, if you yourself are not the website design person, find an implementator who is, and have them agree to join the group, with the first year being free in exchange for them creating your website and maintaining it for you. The website to begin with needs to have all of the members that are currently there, their name, their business name, and the type of business that they are. So that way people who come to your site can find them based on one of those three factors. It'll also make it easier if you put an electronic copy of your bylaws on there and your application and your speaker's bio. That way people can access that information without you always having to give it to them. Once you've done the website, you're going to want to find a third person, somebody who is well connected within the community and who has a great personality. So between yourself, your founding partner, and this third person, these are going to be your president, your vice president, and your secretary treasurer. They're going to help you establish your meeting, set the tone, and invite people. So make sure that this person is somebody that you have gotten to know a little bit, because you will be working with them closely for the first year especially. Then you want to create your bylaws. You need to go into what attendance needs to be, what constitutes membership, who needs to attend the meeting. You need to decide, are you only going to let one of each type of business in? That is something that we chose to do. So there are no other website designer or social media managers in my networking group, because I helped set up the group, and I said, if I'm going to put the effort into this, it needs to be a referral group where only one type of person is allowed. You also need to create a membership application. This is just going to be a basic form to collect all of their information and to decide if they are going to be somebody that is going to be in there. While you're creating the application, you're also going to want to determine what your application fee is. We charge $20. This fee is just basically to get rid of the tire kickers. So when the person submits their paper application, they need to include either a $20 bill or a check made out to our group. And then that is given to the vice president, who is the chair of the membership committee. And then the vice president and the membership committee, which we'll talk about in a minute, votes on whether that person is allowed or not. The $20 is non-refundable. You also need to set annual dues. One of the reasons we chose to leave BNI was their annual dues were getting to be very high in our opinion. But that's one of the reasons we decided to break away. Now, what we do here for our Green Valley Sahuarita referral group, Advantage Alliance, is we have $150 annual dues. We feel that that's a low fee, but it shouldn't be too much of a barrier for people to come in. However, we're also in a smaller metro area, so we have less people overall. So we wanted to keep it where we could have annual dues and make it a reason why people wanted to join the group. And it also funds a couple different things for us. Any money we receive, we split three ways. A third of it goes to a nonprofit that we choose to support at the end of the year. 1/3 of it goes to paying for marketing and running the group, such as slips that I will be talking about here shortly. And the other third of it goes to hosting events, whether it is a after-hours mixer, such as a cocktail party with appetizers where we invite all business members and community members to join us as open networking, or it can also be for a summertime barbecue where we invite all of the members of our group and their family to join us so we can network outside of the meeting. Now I'm going to take a quick sponsor break, and when I come back, I'm going to talk about the different things you need in order to have a successful business referral group.
This episode is sponsored by shieldbar.shop. where do-it-yourselfers get economical domain names and website hosting with 24/7 support.
I'm back. Thanks for listening to the Time2Fly Business Podcast. I am Nikole Haumont, your host, talking about setting up your own business referral group. Now, we've talked about researching existing groups, coming up with a name, finding another person to co-found with, finding your officers, creating bylaws, creating a membership application, setting your application fee, and setting your annual dues. That is all stuff that you need to do prior, and believe me, it's much easier if it's only two of you making those decisions than doing it by committee. Now we're going to talk about a few more of the nuts and bolts that you need to make sure your business referral group gets up and running. When you are doing a referral group, it is best to track several different areas. So that way you can know if a member is actually being a person who is committed to the group and is helping each other grow. First of all, you're going to want to create a couple different types of what I call slips. The first one I do in a green paper, just black and white. You can print it at your local print shop. But I call these TYFCB slips, or thank you for closed business slips. On here, you have the person record the dollar amount that they received from another person in regards to a referral that was passed within the group. Now, the person who received the money, their name is not on the slip. We won't know that it was Trisha, technically, who received the $10,000 from Brandy for the trip that she took. Now, in a small group, you usually know that kind of stuff. But as the numbers grow bigger, you can see that instead of the person who received the business was the one who benefited the most, we are looking at the people who are giving the most referrals and are responsible for sending that referral to a person. On there, we also have at the bottom one-to-ones. One-to-ones are important because you want people to get to know each other besides the 90 minutes or 60 minutes that you have your meeting scheduled for. So we track that I met with Steve, or that Steve met with Candy, or that Brandy and Candy met, because we want people to get to know each other outside of the meeting. That's where you really learn a lot about their businesses and you can create synergy within the group. We also have referral slips. Now, these actually are a carbonless duplicate. So on the top, I have white paper. On the bottom, we have yellow paper. And on there, it is simply the name of who you are referring, who you're giving the referral to, and who the referral is coming from. And then it has all of the contact information for the person that you are referring them to. That way, you can easily reach out to that person and talk with them. On this slip, we also have an area where people can circle whether you should call them, whether you should email them, or whether you should stop by and visit with them. And there's also a little bit of room for a note. Now, both the thank you for closed business slips and the referral slips are printed on an 8.5 by 11 with 8 up. So you get multiple copies off of one page. Once again, take it to your local printer, have them do it for you. Then you're also going to want to have a business card book. This is all upfront expenses. So this is why we do the exploratory meetings and get at least 5 or 6 people on board who are going to pay their member application fee. So you have some working capital here. The business card book, you can choose to have your logo on it if you would like, but you don't have to. What we did was have our Advantage Alliance logo put on there, which of course, since I was one of the founders, I created the logo. There was no charge initially because it's skills that I have. So you may want to find somebody who has those skills if you want to do this a little bit more economically when you're setting up your own group. Maybe that person would be your co-founder. Or maybe you would just trade them out a year or two's worth of membership in order to set all of this stuff up for you. Within this business card book, now it's a smaller one. It has sleeves in it. So you have like 3 business cards per sleeve, and there's about 20 pockets in there. So technically you can fit 60 business cards in there. You're going to want to grow to about 25 people. And then after that, you would want to consider branching off. What we do is we open the meeting with the president running it, of course. The first time we all go around, we introduce ourselves and we specifically say what type of referral we are looking for that week. The more specific you get, the more likely you're going to find that person. So don't just say, I'm looking for a stay-at-home mom. Say, I am looking for a stay-at-home mom who has children ages 3 to 5 for my preschool. That is a lot more specific than just, I'm looking for a stay-at-home mom, because there are stay-at-home moms who have babies, toddlers, kids who go to school, ones who homeschool, or even kids who are in high school. You need to be specific about what type of referral you are actually looking for. Then we have a speaker. So everybody within the group is allowed to speak 10 to 12 minutes on a rotating basis. Depending on the size of your group, you may get to speak twice a year, 3 times a year, 4 times a year. What we like to do, the reason we keep it at 25 or less is that way most people are guaranteed to speak at least 2 times per year. These speeches can be anything about their business, about their background, or about a topic that they want to talk about that day. While you're doing this, though, you're going to want to have a warning or stop sign. So that way you can let the person know when they have 2 minutes left and when they need to be done. Instead of red, because red on black is a little hard to read, and that's how we print it, I actually did a hot pink and a bright yellow. So the warning sign that says they have 2 minutes left is in bright yellow, and the stop sign is in bright pink. So that way we can let the speakers know how much time they have left, and we can keep our meeting moving forward smoothly. After we do that, then we go through our officer reports. We give updated information on attendance, on thank you for closed business, on one-to-ones, and how many referrals were passed. And we also talk about if there's any new membership applications or if we had to kick anybody out of the group because they were not attending. Then after that, we have a second round where every person speaks. And during this time, we hand out referrals to each other if we have any, and we turn in the slips for one-to-ones and thank you for closed business. After that, we have what's good for the group, which is our information time to share other meetings, upcoming events that we should attend. And then we also have somebody who reads a book and shares a chapter with us, a summary of that chapter. These are all business-related books. One other thing that you're going to need is a business card box. Now, this box is going to hold extra business cards of everybody within the group. And I also use ours to hold the slips. I have the vice president, which is myself, and the secretary treasurer have extra of the slips for every single meeting. And then in the business card book, I actually encourage all members to have some of the slips in there too. So that way, if for some reason I'm not at the meeting or the secretary treasurer is not at the meeting, between everybody having 5 to 6 of the slips in their books, they have enough to run the meeting without us. The business card box does get passed around during the meeting, so existing members can fill up their books with referrals that they've given out. And it's also there for guests to go ahead and take out business cards from the people that they want to get to know. This box, the guests do not get to put their business cards in. It's strictly for members of the group. Your meeting room. Hopefully you can find a place that is relatively quiet and that you can have access to every week or bi-weekly, depending on what type of meeting schedule you choose. I would suggest that you should meet at least every 2 weeks. A monthly meeting is not going to do you much good in developing relationships. The meeting room, you're either going to want to set up in a circle or in a horseshoe shape with your officers at the head table. Your 3 officers will sit by each other throughout the entire year that they serve. You're also going to want to select a new member committee. This is headed up by the vice president and usually includes 2 other members. Now, with the new membership committee, the vice president does not vote on if somebody gets in. They vote in case there is a tie. So if one of the membership committee members says no and the other one says yes, the vice president has the ability to decide at that point in time who actually gets to be part of the group. However, as vice president, you also have to track all of the numbers. And you also have to let the membership committee know if somebody has had excessive absences, and you get to deliver the news if somebody is kicked out of the group. So you're going to want to make sure that your vice president is somebody that will do their job. Then, of course, with any group that you're taking money for, you're going to want to establish your employer identification number. You don't want to run this under your own personal social security number because then you're going to be solely responsible for those taxes. One of the reasons we split all of our funding into thirds and we donate to a nonprofit is that way, December 31st of the year, that account can be zeroed out, so we should have nothing to pay on taxes. You're also going to need a bank account because you're going to want to have a debit card so you can pay for the stuff that you need to. And you're also going to want to be able to deposit the checks and the cash in there because the cash can add up fast because every single week we do have the speaker pay $20. That's how we ensure that there's always money coming into the group is a $20 speaker fee. a $20 application fee, and a $150 membership fee. Something to consider when you're first starting your group: you may want to cut your application fees in half for a limited time or for an X amount of people, so that way you can create scarcity for those first memberships and get people to register. We chose to waive the $20 application fee and only have a $75 membership application for the first year for the first 8 members that had joined. And everybody did register and sign up during that short time frame. Then after that, since we had people actively recruiting, we're now at $150 a year and the $20 non-refundable application fee. If you have any questions about any of this, feel free to drop me an email at Nikole@shieldbar.com and we can talk about it if you would like. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Time to Fly, where we give your business wings. Be sure to join us next week for our next show.
This episode is sponsored by shieldbar.shop, where do-it-yourselfers get economical domain names and website hosting with 24/7 support.
Join our fly. Stay informed of all things Time to Fly by subscribing to our newsletter at Time2Fly Podcast.com. And be sure to tune in to our next show.